You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the aftermath of the NFL from yesterday and even prior to yesterday. But, wow. Las Vegas Raiders go out there, absolutely disintegrate, obliterate, decimate, demolish the New York football Giants. I mean, it was a drumming on all levels. And prior to that game, Jay Glazer came out, made some comments about exactly what happened that directly led to the firing of Josh McDaniels, because they had this big airing of grievances meeting we kind of heard about. But we got some specifics about that, and I'm going to tell you what's crazy. Aidan O'Connell, in my opinion, takes a direct shot after the game at Josh McDaniels. And it's clear, I mean, on one hand, loyalty is a good thing. It is. But when Josh McDaniels is so loyal to the Patriots, when he's coaching the Raiders, and you've got a Raiders staffer on the team who's Antoino Pierce, now the head coach, and you're angry over a story about the Giants beating the Patriots to the point that you confront him, yeah, you're probably getting shown the door if the owner finds out about that. So let's watch a little bit of this video. This is Jay Glazer talking about this, and then we'll get to some of the fallout and what Aidan O'Connell, who looked really damn good, I said prior to him starting the other day on Saturday, he's got a chance to be a good quarterback. They've got to find out, a lot like Tennessee has got to find out what Will Levis is. The Raiders have to find out what Aidan O'Connell is, okay? Prior to next year's massive draft that looks a little less massive after Caleb Williams' meltdown. But you get my point. There's still going to be a lot of good quarterbacks in that draft.
To the owner, Mark Davis, to tell them what their problems were. However, the big thing was last Thursday, there was this big airing of the grievance meeting, and players just unloaded on Josh McDaniels, from captain to player to player. And finally, Josh McDaniels actually had Antonio Pierce get up and speak on behalf of him and the coaches. When Antonio Pierce got up there, he said, look, guys, we have to have our own culture. It's got to be about culture here. And we also have to look at it. And he brought up the old Giants team that beat the Patriots, Josh McDaniels' team, in the Super Bowl in 2007 season. He said, no matter who we played, we thought we could beat them. We had a game plan that we could beat them. We had to believe that, and that's not here. We have to believe it here at the Raiders. We could beat anybody. Well, he finishes up that speech. Everybody thinks they're great, except for Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels then goes over to him and says, don't ever talk about the Patriots like that. And then you really saw how divided that building got. That got up to Mark Davis, and I think Mark Davis looked at it and go, okay, I'm going to choose the guy who believes that we can win every single week, and that's what his plan is going to be. And by the way, this is not just a throwaway for Antonio Pierce where, he's just going to coach out the rest of the season. He has a shot to keep this job.
Okay, so, and we're going to look at the Raiders schedule too, but one thing was very interesting. Antonio Pierce brought up in that meeting that they had specific game plans, the Giants did, to beat certain teams. That leads me to believe that was Josh McDaniels not specifically game planning based on opponent? I surely cannot believe that in this day and time, especially when it's so well known that Belichick, at least on the defensive side, sort of puts a game plan together against specific opponents. But if Josh McDaniels was just wanting to play one way against every opponent, yeah, you're not going to win many games that way. That's an odd schematic part of that whole bombshell that Jay Glazer came out with. And, of course, that led to this, folks, where this came out. McDaniels was a shell of himself after a brutal team meeting. I mean, that's and it talks about this right here, him not being able to let go of the Patriot way, and exactly what that ended up doing to everything around here. That's crazy. Ian Rappaport came out and added some more context to what Jay Glazer said. Reported on the meeting several days before McDaniels was fired, describing the tone of the players as, quote, passionate. These new reports add a lot more detail, since we now know that, quote, passionate was more of a roundabout way of saying, quote, very angry at McDaniels. The meeting was described as cathartic, but now we know that cathartic for players and coaches, and definitely not for McDaniels. I mean, that's pretty wild. And they're saying after the meeting, at practice, several hours later, McDaniels reportedly tried to apply some of the players' feedback, like playing music. You weren't playing music during practices? I mean, I thought every coach in the league was doing that now. That's crazy. Even Shanahan, who everybody knows is pretty uptight, is always blasting some kind of music as if for no other reason than to get your players ready for potential distractions during a game. The music is part of that. Just chaos in the background, yada, yada, yada. It's actually become sort of a strategic thing. McDaniel's not doing that? That's wild. Playing music, letting practice happen without him commenting. Look, if you're a player and you don't want your coach to comment, I don't know what to tell you about that. McDaniels was, quote, a shell of himself. The contrast in his behavior was so, quote, stark that apparently it felt like McDaniels wasn't really there. The entire organization reportedly was on board with his firing. The whole organization was on board with his firing. That is nuts. So, we get over here. Raiders look like a new team after Josh McDaniels fired. I mean, they blasted the Giants. Las Vegas destroyed the Giants 30-6. The game was never competitive. Raiders players and even reportedly coaches blasted McDaniels in what will go down as the infamous team meeting. This team meeting will become like infamous in Raiders lore now. Players who were having terrible seasons with McDaniels turned things around. Josh Jacobs had 2 first-half touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow, there was a Hunter Renfrow sighting yesterday. Completely forgotten by McDaniels. I don't get it. Why would you not want to use Hunter Renfrow in your offense? Reemerged with a couple of catches. Rookie quarterback Aidan O'Connell, who was passed over by McDaniels for his start for the over-the-hill veteran Brian Hoyer, that reportedly pissed Mark Davis off big time. A couple weeks ago was very sharp. The Raiders look like a totally different team, which leads Aidan O'Connell to, absurdly praising Antonio Pierce off the map here. Okay, and I think it's awesome that he come out and he's praising him like this. But it's clear this amount of praise is a direct shot at Josh McDaniels. There's no other way to take it. There is no other way to take it. Plus, that's crazy that with all the turmoil and drama surrounding this team, that they felt so much better with McDaniels gone that they came out and just crushed the Giants in the way they did. That's nuts. It should have been a more drama-filled, more pressure-filled situation, and this team responded to it like nobody's business. Mark Davis, if Antonio Pierce pulls a Rich Bisaccia here, he's got to hire him. He can't pass like he did before. Raiders quarterback Aidan O'Connell got his first win as a starter. Antonio Pierce got his first win as interim head coach. Afterward, O'Connell credited Pierce for his leadership he showed since being installed as the head coach during the week. Quote, he did a great job, O'Connell said of Pierce. It was a hard situation, a short week, an unfortunate situation that he took full advantage of. He's a guy with strong convictions, and you can feel his intensity when he talks. Guys believe in him. We just all around offense, defense, special teams did a really good job executing. Yikes. And Josh McDaniels is like supposed to be known as this great offensive mind, executor of plays, all this. And it's almost like Josh McDaniels gets into a head coaching role and completely forgets what he's doing. It's nuts. And by the way, he's already rumored, I've got a Patriots video coming out. Josh McDaniels is part of it. He's a side note in the video, this much, but he's still part of the story with the Patriots. He should never leave the Patriots. Like Josh McDaniels, he's so ate up with the Patriots way which I guess is a credit to the brainwashing that Bill Belichick's done, I guess. But it's backfired on all of these coaches that come from under him. It's completely backfired. They're so loyal to that franchise that it almost feels like they have animosity towards the very teams that they're taking over. It's weird. And why have Antonio Pierce on the staff if you don't want him being able to take and draw from things when he was with the Giants, who had those crazy teams that were good and defeated the Patriots? You don't want him to draw from that as motivation? Then don't hire the guy. It's that simple. Don't hire him. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. This was a dumpster fire. And in fact, and I meant to bring this up just a second ago before we moved on, but we can just look at this. Guys, there is a path to the playoffs. I mean, they're 4-5. That's a toss-up and now a big game against the Jets. Now we know why NBC didn't flex it. With that win, it becomes a big game. That's a toss-up game with the Jets. The Dolphins, probably a loss. Chiefs, probably a loss. Vikings, under their quarterback situation, I know Josh Dobbs won and all that, but that's a toss-up. You know, the Colts, toss-up. Broncos, toss-up. The pivot point, I think, in this schedule is the Chargers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 9-8, and they might sneak into the playoffs. It's that Chargers game right there. And that is in Las Vegas. If they can beat the Chargers, they got to beat the Jets, who the Jets have beaten some good teams this year. That's not going to be easy. It's not. But I don't know that they can score enough points to beat the Dolphins. Maybe that's a win. You're going to assume the Chiefs games are probably losses. But there are winnable games on this Raiders schedule, and who knows? Who knows? We've seen these interim coaches get hot. They had one in the Raiders with Bisaccia that they foolishly didn't hire. The players loved the guy, and that probably hurt McDaniels coming in the door too. Tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. Wow. Raiders look like a new team. Crazy on offense. You got to keep... Look, this is the trial run of Pierce and O'Connell. See what they can do. If it doesn't work out, you move on, draft a quarterback, hire another coach. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.